If there's one thing I wish I knew when I was skinny, that would be to bulk a lot harder. Because most people say that you should just have a small surplus of maybe 200, 300 calories, bulk kind of slowly, don't gain too much fat. But the reality is, if you're skinny, like I was, then you can actually bulk a lot faster than most people say. Now, I used to be super skinny. I used to weigh like about 80 pounds. And when I first started working out, I wanted to get bigger, but I never really thought about the diet. I kind of just obsessed with the training, trying to optimize every like little thing. But then I kind of discovered, you gotta actually bulk to gain weight because I was just so small, right? And I tried to bulk a bit, and I started to notice the tiniest bit of fat gain. And at that point, I genuinely thought I needed to cut. I think this was around a year and a half ago when I was in grade 9. I think I weighed around 110 or 115 pounds, and I remember telling my friends, like, oh, I think I should do a mini cut. I literally had like the tiniest bit of fat, and I actually thought I needed to do a cut, and all my friends thought I was crazy, rightfully so, but I thought I was right. And looking back, obviously I did not need to cut at all. And since that point, I've gained about 60 pounds and built a pretty aesthetic physique, and what I've realized is that you can actually bulk a lot harder than most people think. Now, the general advice is to bulk kind of like slowly, small surplus, and people will say to avoid dirty bulking, right? But the thing is, I think you can actually have a lot greater of surplus than what's generally recommended. I mean, some people are even recommending numbers as low as like 1 pound per month of gaining on a bulk. Like, that's literally nothing. Are you kidding me? 1 pound per month? Seriously? The thing is, like, if you're skinny, right, like I was, really skinny, the rules just kind of don't apply. Like, when you weigh so little, you can bulk for a lot longer and a lot faster than you think, especially if you're more of a beginner as well. And like, when you weigh 100 pounds, the rules are just different. Like, when I weighed 100 pounds, I didn't need to bulk slowly and gain 1 pound per month. No, I need to put on at least 4 pounds per month. Like, come on. Like, I don't know why everyone's so conservative with their bulking nowadays and is like super afraid to put on any amount of fat. And like, honestly, like, since that point when I weighed 80 pounds to now at around like 140, like gaining that 60 pounds, I honestly haven't noticed much fat gain whatsoever. I mean, obviously like a little bit because I was just so skinny. I was probably like 8% or something. Now I'm around like 12, I think. But really, like, I haven't noticed much fat gain. I think that's probably similar for you as well. If you're like super skinny starting out, then you probably won't notice much fat gain either when you bulk. And especially being like a hard gainer, it's kind of hard to overdo it because you're struggling already to just gain 1 pound per month already. So like, to gain too much and put on too much fat, as the type of person who needs to eat like 4,000 calories a day, stuffing themselves, always like, high metabolism and stuff, it's just not really gonna happen that you're gonna overdo the bulk, unless you just stuff your face with pizza and donuts and stuff, which I do not recommend at all. I feel like for different people, it works kind of differently. Like, for some people who weigh more normal, like, let's say they weigh like 160 or 170, if they gain 60 pounds, then they would probably notice some fat gain, right? If you're going from like 160 to 220, you'd probably notice some fat gain on the bulk. But for me, going from 80 to 140, I didn't notice much fat gain. That's probably the same for anyone who's super skinny. So if you're in a similar position to where I was, thinking you needed to cut when you only weigh like 115 pounds, then definitely don't be afraid to bulk a lot harder. And also, by the way, if you want help with that, then click the link in the description. You'll get everything you need, full guides on how to bulk, training principles, and also personal help from me. It's actually a pre-sale right now, so you can get a special deal where it's gonna be half off, and also you get a bonus 1-hour call with me. For me, I think like the biggest thing that held back my muscle growth, like throughout my lifting journey, has just been gaining weight, really. Like, and also now as well. The only thing holding me back is really just gaining weight, because like my training is good and stuff, and I was always super obsessed about the training side of things. So like, that was usually pretty good. But then it doesn't matter how hard you train. If you weigh 115 pounds, you cannot get jacked unless you gain weight. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you gotta bulk to build the most amount of muscle. Definitely don't listen to this main gaining advice. It is not for you if you're watching this video and you are super skinny. And honestly, I don't think it's really for most people either. For me, when I was main gaining, I was basically just slacking on my diet, not actually trying to bulk, and made no progress. Like, how would you expect to build, let's say, 20 pounds of muscle without gaining 20 pounds? Like, it's pretty obvious. And you can also bulk for a lot longer than you think as well. Like, most people, they just do it in like, short kind of cycles. definitely not longer than like a year, but for me, I've been bulking for about 2 or 3 years, and I haven't noticed much fat gain. It's probably the same for you as well if you're starting out similar to how I did. And there's also a whole other discussion about like how fast you can build muscle and stuff, like natty limit as well. But the thing about that is like, even if you can't build muscle that fast, if you're bulking like hard, then as like you're at least maximizing that potential. And I do think it's a lot more than people think. Like everyone nowadays likes to say like, you know, it's like unrealistic to achieve these things and like natty limits, you know, all this stuff. Like, you know, you can only gain like 6 pounds of muscle per year or something. I feel like it's all really underestimated, but if you really put in the work and do things right, then I think it can be a lot more. And yeah, obviously it takes time. It's not like you're gonna gain 10 pounds of muscle per month. Like, obviously not. Maybe not even 5 or 4 pounds of muscle per month, but either way, you should be maximizing your potential. Now, one thing, don't fall into the trap that I did, and it seems pretty stupid, but just so you know, if you're really skinny, right? Super skinny, just absolutely emaciated, a twig, okay? Which you probably are. No offense. Just because, you know, you're watching this video. Anyways, once you start bulking and you notice a little bit of fat gain, don't worry about that, because, like, I kind of thought, like, this is, you know, fat gain, because it was, but, like, the thing is, it's not really fat gain, it's just you're going from absolute starvation mode to like a normal healthy body fat. So like you don't need to cut. And obviously looking back, it's like pretty stupid. You know, obviously I didn't need to cut, but when I was actually in that position, I genuinely thought I did need to cut. So I'm just saying that for you, if you're in that same position, don't cut. Even if you do think you are actually gaining like a substantial amount of fat, you probably don't need to cut still. I think it's probably because like I was so used to seeing myself super lean, like 8% body fat, super skinny. So then when I gained a little bit of fat and became like around 12%, like more normal, I thought that was, you know, I kind of saw the difference in that, where I saw it as like a higher body fat. For example, if someone's starting off like 13-14%, if they gain 4% body fat up to like 18, then they're gonna, you know, see that difference. So it was kind of the same for me, except either way, I was still pretty lean. Like, bulking is where the building of your physique actually occurs, and you want to spend as much time as possible in that phase. And the more time spent cutting is time not spent bulking. Now, if you're like a hard gainer like me, kinda, then you probably have to eat a lot of calories to bulk. Like for me, I'm eating around 4,000, trying to go a bit over 4,000 to gain weight. And you always hear the classic like, oh, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day, but I'm not gaining weight. Listen, the number doesn't really matter, honestly. I don't care. If you need to eat 8,000 calories a day to gain weight, it doesn't matter. The number doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, you're probably tracking wrong too. Let's be real. Because you can't be like super accurate all the time. Even if you are being accurate, even if you're going to a lab to get your food tested or whatever and tracked super accurately to the calorie, which you still can't do probably, it doesn't really matter. Even if you are eating like 6,000 calories a day to bulk, as long as you're in a surplus of the desired amount, that's all that matters. So stop looking at like the general number, and more so you should just be looking at the surplus. So how much over your maintenance are you going? And if you are eating a lot of calories and still not gaining weight, then the answer is to eat more, obviously. And just keep eating more until you're gaining weight at the rate you want. Now, the question comes up, how fast should you gain weight? Now, if you go online, right, the general recommended like good rate is about like 2 pounds per month, like half a pound per week, right? Now I think that's not bad, but I think it's a little bit on the low end, especially if you're like really skinny. Now at the point I'm at about like 140, so I'm still trying to gain a lot of weight from here. Even now I'm trying to gain around like 3 pounds per month ideally, but if you're even smaller, like back when I was way smaller, I would have even tried to gain like 4 pounds per month if I could. And yeah, around like 3 or 4 pounds per month. I don't think that's unreasonable. And also, if you're more of a beginner, then you can definitely gain a bit faster than, you know, if you've been training for like 10 years, then obviously, yeah, probably closer to like 2 pounds per month. Also, another thing is if you're young and like still growing, then just the growth of your body can account for like a lot of the weight gain too, because it's not just your muscles that are growing, but also the rest of your body and like your bones, you know, that adds up to the weight. So you could probably gain weight even faster, especially when you're growing. Like I've had friends who just gain like 10 pounds in a month, because when you're growing and growing taller, especially, like a lot of that weight is coming from other places, bones. And you definitely want to be in a surplus to like maximize your height growth and stuff like that. Like who even invented cutting? It sounds pretty useless, honestly. The only cutting I'm doing is cutting through the fat steak I'm about to eat. By the way, once again, if you want to know how to bulk fully in depth, a detailed guide, step by step, then click the link in the description. You also get a bonus 1-hour coaching call with me if you buy now with the pre-sale, and also lock in half price. So check it out if I were you. Yeah, that's it for this video. Have a good one.